Today, we're going to break down a whole new playbook for building wealth, and it really challenges a core piece of the American dream, owning your own home. Is it still the best path to getting rich? Or, is there a smarter way? Okay, let's just dive right into this because that's a pretty bold question, right? The whole argument we're exploring today is that this goal we've all been sold, buy a house, build that equity, live happily ever after. Well, it might not just be outdated, it could actually be a pretty dangerous financial trap.
So how in the world did we get here? Well, the idea is that homeownership as the ultimate goal wasn't just some organic thing. It was basically a brilliant marketing campaign. Think about it. It was designed by banks, pushed by politicians, and what did it create? Millions of predictable customers, all locked into decades of payments.
Okay, now this is where it starts to get a little sneaky. We've all heard it a million times. House prices always go up. Well, according to this analysis, that's kind of an illusion. Insiders can use these financial tricks to artificially inflate prices. For instance, a builder might offer a concession like paying your closing costs, or a seller might buy down your mortgage rate to make the loan seem cheaper, all while keeping that official sticker price super high. So the numbers you see, they don't always tell the whole story.
Wow, this quote from Ramit Sethi really just hits you, doesn't it? It hammers the point home. When you're in a room with a bunch of sophisticated players, we're talking banks, builders, agents, who are really good at gunning you to part with your money, you gotta be skeptical. It's your best defense. So, okay, if that traditional playbook is broken, what are the wealthy doing that's so different? This is where the whole strategy shifts. They're not even playing the same game, and that difference, well, it's everything when it comes to how they build and keep their wealth. And this slide just lays it all out, right? The middle class often gets stuck being asset-rich but cash-poor. All their wealth is locked up in stuff, mainly their house. The wealthy, they flip that entirely. They focus on being cash flow rich by owning things that actually put money in their pocket month after month. And just look at this breakdown for people worth over 10 million bucks. It's not even close. A whopping 60% of their wealth is from owning private businesses, companies that are literally profit machines. Yeah, real estate is in there, it's a piece of the puzzle, but it is not the main event. The focus is always on income.
So here's the crucial point, and it's a big one. The money that's tied up in the house you live in, it's basically dead money. I know it feels great to see that equity number go up on a statement, but it's just sitting there. It's stagnant. It's not out in the world working for you, growing and compounding to build real wealth.
Okay, let's get into the math, because this is where the argument really comes alive. When you put a house up against other investments, side by side, the picture gets crystal clear.
So first up, let's look at the good old stock market. If you took 100 grand and put it in the S&P 500 20 years ago, it would have massively outperformed the same amount of money going into home equity. The stock market, which is really just you owning a tiny piece of all these businesses, it just grew way, way faster.
Now let's get even more specific. Let's say you have $400,000 to invest. You buy an average rental property. After all the bills are paid, you might make about $2,400 a year. That's a tiny 0.6% return. But what if you put that same money into a boring small business, like a lawn care service or a pool cleaning company? You could be netting $60,000 a year. That's a 15% return.
25 times, yeah, you heard that right. That is the difference in annual cash flow. We're not talking about a small gap here. We're talking about a completely different financial universe. One option slowly builds a little bit of equity. The other one generates serious, life-changing income.
Okay, but right about now, a lot of you are probably thinking, whoa, a business is so risky. And yeah, that's true. But this quote reframes that whole idea. The argument here is that playing it too safe is its own kind of risk. It's the risk that you'll never actually get the financial freedom you really want.
So for those of you who still really want to buy a home, this playbook offers a smarter way to do it. The key is to stop thinking like a dreamer looking for your forever home and start thinking like a deal maker who's looking for a financial edge.
Now, a key strategy in this new playbook is something called seller financing. This is where you basically bypass the bank completely. Instead of getting a mortgage from a big lender, the person who owns the house becomes your bank.
And the process is actually pretty straightforward. You and the seller, you just agree on everything: the price, the down payment, the interest rate, how long the loan is, you sign the legal paperwork, and then boom, your monthly payments go directly to the seller, not some giant bank. It's a much more direct and often way more flexible arrangement.
And this is why it can be so amazing. For buyers, it can mean getting approved easier or getting better terms. For sellers, it's a way to earn a steady income stream from interest over time and maybe even save on taxes. It's that classic win-win situation, as long as it's structured the right way.
Okay, let's tie all of this together. Let's build one final actionable strategy that just completely flips the old American dream on its head.
Here it is. This is the big takeaway. Instead of saving up for a decade to get a down payment on a house, you focus on buying an income-producing asset first. Something like a small, boring, profitable business. Then, you use the cash flow from that business to pay for your liabilities, like your rent or your mortgage. You let your assets pay for your life.
Ultimately, this is all about a mindset shift. It's about realizing that the system, well, it might be designed to keep you as a consumer, just making payments your whole life. But you don't have to play that game. You can choose to be an owner instead. So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. The path you choose, whether it's the traditional one or this dealmaker's playbook, it really determines the entire financial game you're playing. Are you focused on collecting payments, or are you focused on building cash flow? The answer could honestly change everything for you. Thanks for watching, and thank you for supporting us by watching WealthPrint.